Are we actually rolling? Oh, cool. We got to see. Sometimes I'm like, can you start rolling like 10 minutes before we actually start? Because that's the best stuff, like the unscripted stuff. Well, listen, I am super stoked to have two of the brothers in the house today. I've got Lyndon and Jay. Should we go straight into the nicknames? But let's start here. I've got Lyndon Cabellon. I've got Jay Larson, also the host of Late Night with Choccy.
Yeah!
And it's super fun. So that's a podcast for anybody that doesn't know these guys. Let me just start right in. I've known of Jay for a very long time, and Lyndon, I knew you from around town, but I didn't know you until you actually had me on your podcast. That's really where I first met you guys.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. So this is super fun for me to have you guys on the opposite side of the mic. And these guys, Late Night with Choccy is a super accomplished, very, very recognized surf podcast with like over 330 episodes, talking to some of the best surfers in the world, whether it be world champions like Kelly Slater or Mark Akalupo or industry icons like yourselves, and business clowns like me, local business, surf shop owners, like this incredible diverse mix that all kind of ties around surf. But you guys go way wider than that. So, and that's actually what we're going to do today. I always say, like, it's not a surf podcast, it's not a paddling podcast. It's really like a connect the dots and storytelling. And what I think about with you guys, anybody that's listened to, again, 330 plus episodes now,
Yeah.
right?
At least, yeah.
2019, March, first
It's
episode.
amazing. And again, the best of the best in the world. So if you're a surfer, you most likely know of their podcast or these guys.
You better.
Yeah, and you will now. But there's way more to it. And I think that if anybody listened to all 330, they would have a pretty good understanding of who you guys are.
Yeah.
But we're going to have 90 minutes to kind of uncover, like, so somebody can sit here and go, oh, I get it now. Because my favorite part is like connecting the dots and like figuring out like, okay, how did you two end up doing this together? How did you guys end up in this position where you could do all of this and are connected with the whole world of surf? And so that's what we're going to unload today. Is that cool?
Awesome.
It's all me.
It's all. Well, that might have been one of the questions. Like, who are the brains and who's the brawn? Okay, well, we'll get there.
I just show up.
I just show up. So I got to start with something. So, Late Night with Choccy.
Yeah.
Okay, nicknames. And everybody that comes on your podcast gets a nickname, a good one or a bad one, but they get one, right?
Almost.
Almost.
We try to dig up a nickname or make one up, but not always.
But after 330, I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be challenging.
It's challenging.
Some have multiple depending on when they're kids. You know, different chapters of their life have different nicknames with different groups of friends. So
Okay, I want to go into yours. So, Jay, let's start with yours because Late Night gives a connotation of like maybe, I know you've been married for over 20 years, 3 kids.
Yeah.
Late Night's probably 9 o'clock now. So where does the nickname come from?
I'd like to go out and have a good time.
Still?
No.
Yeah, he does.
Every once in a while. But growing up and I like having fun.
Got it.
And when we were traveling and, going around the world, the globe.
Hold on. Why were you going around the world back in those days?
Surfing.
At what level?
Bro.
Very high.
I'm leading
you know
the
who this
question.
guy is?
I do, but they don't. And I want him to tell the story, Lyndon.
So
We'll get there.
Traveling the world,
Yeah.
Competitive surfing on the tour or videoing magazine, just
Yes. Listen, and that's Jay. I knew you
Yeah.
long before. Again, and we're gonna get there in just a minute. But like, I'm a couple years older than you. But like, are you technically the momentum generation?
Yeah.
Like all your guys.
Not
like these,
technically.
You are it. And movie parts. Like I knew you from
Yeah.
movie parts. I never surfed with you, but I mean, I knew who you were a long time ago. And so, yeah, when you say traveling world, you were traveling the world with some of the best surfers in the world. You're in movie
Magazine
parts.
covers.
Yeah, right. All of the
He was
above.
a big deal.
So
Yeah.
Late Night was
So without-
enjoying the lifestyle.
For sure. I mean, we're going around and all the contests have events and venues at night. So again, it's all business when you're surfing and competitive or whatever. And when you lose, it's time to have fun.
You're like a mullet. You're all business in the front and all party in the back.
I had one of those for.
Did you really?
I did. I'll have to bring you a
You'll
couple of good
probably
photos.
see it at Jan's.
Yeah, there's one in
Really?
there.
Is there really? Oh my gosh,
But
I would love to see
but
that.
it was this might be your only time traveling in the world, or going to this spot, or whatever. And you're young,
And you
you
take
have the
advantage.
means, you're kind of a celebrity going to these different countries, and it was just fun. And yeah, so it was business, being a professional surfer, contests, work, and then party hard.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that obviously hung out with me and partied knew I wasn't doing hardcore drugs or anything, just
Having fun.
weed and drinking and
Yeah.
staying up late and
So
having fun.
when did that nickname come about? Did it really come about back then?
So, yeah, it kind of came,
Early on?
early on, hanging with everybody, because I got coined kind of the Boy Scout, meaning like I was the driver, I was organizing the trips, I was the kind of the more
You're the head.
Responsible?
I was really responsible,
He is.
and I
He's
had,
like a Boy Scout.
but I just wanted to make sure everything was dialed. But I'd be the last one to bed, probably.
It's a good balance.
And then I'd be the
Right?
first one up
to go crack it.
to get everybody up and riled, because surfing in the mornings were the kind of highlight of the day, whether it got onshore, the sun, the
Yeah.
morning morning hours. So it was just, hey, we could go have fun, but we got to get up early.
All right, so
We
you
gotta
knew
get work.
you had that balance.
I had the
You were able-
balance.
that's really good, because a lot of people on that pro tour, especially 90s, 2000s, they were one-trick ponies, right? They were really good at this, but they were really good at partying, and
Yeah.
you can get waylaid.
I didn't let it get away from me.
Aren't
I
you going to
just-
say who?
Super smart.
Yeah, so Benji Weatherly
Oh.
pretty much coined the name Late Night.
Is he one of the, I don't know, one of the funniest guys?
Yeah.
Seems like it.
He's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And it,
For real?
For real.
I
He
didn't know
does.
that.
Yeah, he does that.
Another one of the momentum generation ripping surfer
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
South,
For sure.
from San Diego area.
but our little Rat Pack and and he coined it and it just stuck really
That's
quick.
classic.
Late Night Larson. Like it just easy and it made sense and I rolled with it.
What's your wife think of that?
She laughs. She knows.
Yeah.
She is a good counterpart.
She probably
in
met
that.
you around
Yeah,
that time, right?
For sure.
Awesome. Okay. Cool.
But,
Thanks for sharing that. Hold on. Oh, is there more?
Well, I was going to say, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
When I first came up with the idea of doing the podcast, I had the name Late Night with Choccy.
Oh, you knew it all.
I knew it. Like, this is can we cuss?
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
Because we do on our show.
Beep, beep.
Nah,
So-
no beeps here.
So I'm driving in the car and I go, Lar, we need to fucking start a podcast. We have the perfect name, Late Night with Choccy. And he's like, oh man, like, really? You think late night? I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? That's your nickname. He goes, yeah, but that's like bad connotation. I don't want people to think of me that way. I go,
That was
"Fuck."
my old life.
I go,
You're like,
I go,
everybody does.
I go, well, what's your other option? I go, late night's perfect. And he goes, what about happy hour Lar? And I'm like, fuck no.
All I'm thinking is we're going to be drinking no matter if it's late night or
Right.
happy hour. Happy hour is like,
Happy hour Lar's good. I'm
I'm all,
like,
that's
no,
like-
dude, that name's
Stick,
stupid.
right. Benji gave it to you. It's stuck. It's there forever.
happy hour.
And you're like, when you were 18, 19, 20, when Benji Weatherly gave you that nickname, you're like, oh, that's kind of funny. You're like, now I'm, 30 years ago, I still got it. How
Yeah.
did that happen, right?
But dude,
I still
it's
live
the
up to it.
perfect name for a podcast.
It is.
right?
Okay, but that leads us to yours. Okay, so when I'm going to let you tell the story, and then I'm going to tell you my first thoughts. Choccy,
Choccy. So my favorite surfer is Aki, right?
Mark Akalupa.
Yes. And
Have you had him on the podcast?
Yes,
You have.
We
That's so
actually got to interview him this past summer at the JS Industries, JS Garage in Oceanside. It was awesome.
Yeah, Billabong was launching a product line for him.
So
Yeah.
great.
So
What a legend.
Jeff
okay,
Booth,
so Chalky. So he's Aki. What's
Yeah.
What's Chalky?
yeah. So
Is this PC?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
who cares?
I know.
Who cares if it's PC or not? I love the name.
Okay,
but
perfect.
the person that coined the name for me was Jeff Booth. So
Laguna Pro Surfer.
yeah, he's a once top 4 in the world.
Yeah, he's low.
He got second at the
Boothie.
G-Land contest in, I don't know, 94, 95. Anyways, Kelly won and Jeff got second. But I'm surfing with Jeff Booth, and he goes, who's your favorite surfer? And I go, Aki, of course. And he's like, that's what I thought. He goes, you kind of have a style. He goes, you're the chocolate Aki.
Yeah.
And I go, what? And he's like, you're Chalky, the chocolate Aki. And I'm like, yes, I am.
You'll own
And
that
I'll
forever
own
and ever and ever. Hold on. So how cool is that your nicknames come from Jeff Booth and Benji Weatherly, like iconic guys you got to keep those. You got to own those, right?
for
How
sure.
cool is that? That is great. That's
I
so
mean,
funny.
Late Night is perfect for him, but Choccy is
Perfect for you.
I would like to say it's perfect for me, but I'm nowhere near the caliber to have Aki as my Choccy.
He rips.
If someone says, if Jeff Booth says you are, you are. And you just own it forever.
Well, I'm gonna own it forever, but
That's
yeah,
so
that was
great.
it was an honor.
You
to
definitely
get that.
have Aki-esque turns and footing and turns. You ripped it.
Well,
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
when
Thank
we
you.
get, so we're going to go down to the Wayback Machine in just a minute. And part of it, part of it is that you have some athletic background that I think probably lends itself to surfing the way Aki does. Low center of gravity, big and strong, right?
Oh, are you talking about me being a CIF champion gymnast? Is that
No,
what
I
you're
was actually
saying?
talking about the accordion player.
No, the accordion probably did help me, right? Like
The
lower
thing is
center of gravity because of the weight of the accordion.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep telling yourself that.
No, so these are the fun things about podcasts, but also about prepping for it. Like, I think I know something. I start doing homework. I'm like, hold on, what? Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I played the accordion for, I think, almost 12 years. From like
if
third
I had
grade.
one, if I had one right here, because with Murphy Cargus, there could be one here in the studio. Could you play it? Could you rip it?
No.
Really?
It's been decades.
Oh, it would come right back.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I actually had to play that, and I was really good. And I never put two and two together. My mom forced me to play it. Like, it was gnarly. I've come from a Filipino family, and my mom relentlessly made me practice for 2 hours a day.
At all
For
the
like-
instruments.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And she lied to me. She told me that I
Parents
wanted
never lie to their
I
kids. What are
wanted
you
to
talking
play
about?
guitar or drums. And she goes, "Oh yeah, that's gonna be next. You learn the notes and how to and learn to read music."
I so wish that if Murphy was here, so Murphy Cargus, one of the owners of the studio, he was the bass player for Sugar Ray. He teaches bass at the highest level. He would have come running out just now. I bet he would have gone to find an accordion for you and put you to work on film. for sure.
Someday I would like to bust it out. If that ever had an opportunity to do that, I'd like to do that. Just
So
for shits and
We'll
giggles.
make that happen. That'd be
So-
incredible.
So, side note, we worked together at Huntington Service Board, and they used to throw these Christmas parties together every year, do all kinds of cool stuff for the employees. And, we knew he played, and he practiced, and to do a Christmas song at.
I played Jingle Bells, I think.
Yeah.
Something.
In front of
Were people blown
60,
away?
I don't know.
They were laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
It was,
How old were you?
I don't know. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a long time, 30 years ago.
It's classic. Well, listen, I appreciate this backstory. I wanted to kind of set the stage of who's in the room and why. But since that time, so we're going to go to the Wayback Machine, as I said, and kind of talk about how you guys got here. You already talked about Huntington Surf and Sport. I'm guessing that's where you connected. But you guys have been in the surf industry forever. In different parts of it, and we're going to talk about it. But let's start, because I think where I know you guys from is Huntington. I think, Jay, you grew up there, and I know a little bit about, let's start, Jay, did you grow up in Huntington?
Yep. I was born at Huntington Humana Hospital, which I don't know, they don't do births there anymore, but OG Huntington. My dad surfed, older brother surfed. We grew up just, outdoorsmen, water skiing, surfing, whatever. And
So surfing started super early for you.
not super early going to the beach. I definitely was not, pushed at an early age. I think boogie boarding up until I was probably 10. And then, my brother and my dad were like, dude, what are you doing? You're standing up on a boogie board. Like, go, get it, start surfing.
Let's go.
Yeah. So it was about 10 where I started, fourth going into fifth grade was kind of the summer where I took it serious.
Got it. I always say, I live about 2 miles from
Yeah.
here, and my wife and I grew up about 3 miles from here. We haven't gone very far. Other than college and travel and all that, we have not gone very far. How far from where you live today did you grow up?
Pretty close.
Half a mile, maybe,
Really?
quarter mile.
Yeah, so you're Huntington through
So-
and through and through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live from the house I grew up in where my dad still lives, maybe a quarter mile.
So rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, through and through.
Truly born and bred.
Yeah.
HB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lyndon, what about you? Yours
I
a little
was-
different path.
I was born in the Philippines, moved here when I was 6, and moved around to different cities, but ended up in Long Beach. And then when I graduated high school, soon after moved to Huntington.
Got it. But in high school, you were still playing accordion.
Yep.
And you were gymnastics.
Yep.
Like CIF gymnastics.
I was CIF champion.
Dude,
It's pretty gnarly.
Did
I
you
only did it for 2 years.
Did you like it?
I loved it, but I only did it for 2 years. I did it 10th and 11th grade, and they cut it. They cut the program in my senior year. But for whatever reason,
How did you get into it?
it was my German teacher that taught it, and he goes, and a couple of my friends got into it, and I just did it because my friends did it, and then I got super serious, and then I did all around. I did everything: floor, vault, horse, iron, the cross, not iron cross, the rings, and the high bar. But the best event I did was the parallel bars and vault.
Wow. You have to be so strong to be a gymnast.
It's fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
It's a gnarly, like, you point your toes. You have to be like, you know what I mean? You have to have
Still.
body control. And that's what, in all seriousness, that gymnastics activity helped me surfing. Skateboarding.
How could it not?
Yeah. Skateboarding and gymnastics helped me be a better surfer.
Did you get really into skateboarding as well?
Yeah. That was my first,
That was-
passion living inland in Long Beach.
So just an interesting question. So you guys, your family emigrates from the Philippines when you're six and siblings?
Yep. My mom came first, the first person that came, and then my sister and I, then my dad, then my brother and my other sister.
Wow.
Like in
And
stages.
For what reason? Why did
Better
they-
life.
Just better life.
Yeah.
And they had opportunity to get
Yep.
over here.
Yep.
Awesome. What do they think about your nickname of Chocolate Aki?
My family doesn't really get it.
Oh,
they
they
don't
don't.
really know.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
so funny.
the way I grew up was so different from the way they grew up, because my sister
Growing up here.
You're Americanized.
Right? Yeah.
I was Americanized. I'm pretty much the only one that the next older one is Jackie. It's Jackie, then Ike, then Gigi. That's the names of the kids. But Gigi and Ike pretty much grew up in the Philippines, and Jackie in junior high school moved here.
So
But
you're
I was-
the American one.
Yeah.
Americanized.
Yeah.
Or the most.
and we're latchkey kids, you know?
So you're-
No supervision.
There's no super.
But a lot of people around here, in my experience, and probably yours, Jay, in Huntington, if you've grown up around here, latchkey, you have so much freedom. You're getting a lot of trouble. But you actually go and become CIF champ and play
I
the
got a
accordion
lot of
and-
trouble.
Okay, you did. All right. Okay. We still like
Balance.
you. then.
It was
Got
crazy because I did a lot of mischievous shit, and I'm so lucky I didn't get,
Yeah.
totally walk down the wrong path. But yeah, for whatever reason, my mom would reward me for playing the accordion, and I was really good at it. So
I heard you say that like 3 times already.
Yeah, really good at it.
but I would get everything I wanted
gotcha.
because of the
that.
accordion. Yeah,
Interesting.
Skateboards,
So,
surfboard.
Let me ask
Incentive
you,
program.
It's super interesting. I grew up here. Like you, I was like almost a one-trick pony. I was like surf, skate. Like I played ball sports until I found skateboarding and surfing, and that was everything else was kind of out the window until my parents said, "Surfing doesn't count. You have to play a real sport," which I did for a while in high school. And I'm guessing with your family being outdoorsy and surfy and beachy, you've been surfing the whole time. Did you
Yeah.
play much in the way of other sports?
I did. I was a jock for
you
sure,
did.
up until surfing kind of took over.
Got it.
It
happens to all of us.
Yeah,
Right?
tried soccer, hated it. Ran, never got tired. Liked running. Not a big deal. Basketball, I love basketball. That's probably my favorite outside of surfing. Played football.
Wow.
Actually played Pop Warner in junior high, and then I don't know. Surfing just kind of consumed and
Well,
took
and it
over.
worked.
It takes
I mean,
over.
it certainly worked.
Yeah.
So my question for you, Lyndon, is because of my time that we spend and we have a business in Hawaii, we have a lot of Filipino folks on our team that are incredible. They're the hardest work. So I was going to ask you, my understanding and what I've seen, my experience is that the Filipino folks are the hardest working folks that I know over there, bar none. Not knocking anybody, but they're just incredible how hard they work, super deferential, very sweet. They run our store and they're amazing. Does that resent like,
Are we like that?
are you like that? It sounds like you are.
I want to say yes. I mean, most of my family are all successful in their own way. So I think we strive to work hard and I don't know. We have a good work ethic for sure. My parents, my mom, they were older and they didn't have the connections or networks of like getting. My mom was a doctor in the Philippines, but she was timid in like trying to get her license here, but she became a professor at USC.
No way.
Yeah, over years. And my dad came here and he was in the Secret Service in the Philippines.
Really?
But coming here, like he didn't know what to do. He was like a night watchman, like a guard. But they worked their freaking asses off. Like I would never see them. My mom would leave at dawn and come home at like 7 at night, and my dad would sleep all day and then work at night. So it was weird.
Isn't it amazing what our parents did for us? And we're out there fucking around all the time, right?
Our kids have no idea.
They haven't.
When we interview older generations, they started fucking working at 6 or 7 years old. Herbie Fletcher was doing a paper route at 7 years old.
Totally. Right.
You're just like, wait, at 7 years old, what are our kids doing?
Well, let's talk. We're going to bounce around because we're now coming into, you guys both, before we go into, I was going to go into surf and surf shops because we all have that in common. After high school, did you guys have goals or plans, or were you already on, Jay, we'll start with you. Were you already on like the pro program?
For sure. I think at like 14, 15, you felt, the way competing against the best kids in, the U.S. And I was like, like this is what I want to do. I feel like I was good enough or getting good enough or knew like there's definitely opportunity. And that's, I think any kid that surfs is like, that's the dream.
Especially, again, at that time, surf was at its zenith, right? It was like full, like
it was early 90s or, late 80s, early 90s. It was, pro surfing was, when I told my parents I want to be a pro surfer, they kind of like, that's not real.
Right.
Because it wasn't, there was, the Bud Tour and we had the OP Pro. There was definitely, it was here and it was visible and it wasn't just this out of touch, out of sight, like,
No, the
thing.
OP Pro, like for your family being in Huntington, the OP Pro in the 80s was the biggest contest in the world. Like thousands of people on the beach, maybe a riot or two thrown in. But like you would have to they would have to look and go, it's not some little small fake thing. Like it's on. Whether they want you to be a part of it or not might be another question too.
When you say, I want to be a professional surfer, a person that works for a living looks at it and goes, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
How are you a professional? How are you going to get paid? What do you get paid for? Like, where do you go to work?
But-
in the ocean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, please.
But,
Right?
But my parents,
Especially back then when you're in high school and, surfing, like you said, it was the PSAA and that was pretty much it. And the once a year OP Pro. Like, how do you make a living doing that?
But my parents saw, they had to shell out money for boards and wetsuits and contests for
a while.
For a couple years, and then started getting sponsors, and then they started paying for the events, and I started getting free clothes and everything, and then that was like huge burden lifted. They're like, wait, what? We don't have to pay for anything anymore, and they were like, they just. Boxes would come and product, and I'd see my brother and my dad and all new
Frothing.
gear.
Like,
I'm like, did you leave me anything? No, but
So hold on, can I stop there?
Yeah.
So who was your first sponsor?
Greg Wade and Robert August. So Greg Wade ran Victory wetsuits and also had a clothing brand Mango under it, but he was partners with Robert August at the surf shop, and they were technically my first shop sponsor.
Well, and
surfboard
Robert
shaper.
August at that point was still
It was iconic already.
100%,
Huge.
right? He
Yeah.
was in the summer and
they think of Robert August longboard, and that was his forte. But during that time, longboard business was not as prevalent
robust
as
for
it
sure.
was in the previous years. So he, shortboarding was definitely, where it was at.
Yeah.
But that was my first sponsor hookup.
How fast so you said you kind of started going from boogie to surf around 10.
Yeah.
And then by 14, 15, you're already getting sponsored
Yep.
and doing contests. Came on pretty quick for you?
pretty quick.
It was kind of like the accordion for you. Like
Yeah.
you're like had it wired. Did you enjoy competing?
I did. Yeah, super competitive. And that,
He was good in amateur.
yeah. That,
I don't understand. What are you saying, Lyndon?
that was kind of the route you had to go to kind of make a name for yourself, was competitive surfing. There was no social media. There was no like anything that people only get in the magazines were pros and, maybe some younger kids. But
So the goal, I'm guessing there was 2 goals. Correct me if I'm wrong. One was to win contests. The other one was to get in magazines.
for sure.
How are you doing in both of those?
I think my first magazine shot, they do this like performers on the back like page, and it's usually amateurs, and it's where they list all the previous contest rankings or placements. So I had a Fred Swagle's lowers backside bottom turn. I might have been 14, maybe 15. I don't know, somewhere around there.
I mean, growing up, because we're pretty close in age.
Yeah.
Growing up,
No, Lyndon's. Yeah, we're really close in age.
but growing up, and anybody younger wouldn't get it because surf magazines they're nothing anymore. But back in the day, that was it.
Yeah.
And movies, which we'll get to. But we were all every week or every month those magazines, we all had them, and we'd go through them, and you would end up looking at the back because there was no social media. So if I saw somebody on the back, I'm like, oh my gosh, Jay Larson, I just saw him surfing in Huntington. Like, it was a big deal to get in a magazine. That's all we ever wanted.
Those
right?
names, just to make the final and have your name listed in boys or juniors, mini, huni, whatever the division was in the back of the mag, was those get cut out and then go into your portfolio. So that's how you would. And then all the brands would have a team manager down at the NSSAs and WSAs and stuff, like their scouts or guys taking care of their own athletes and stuff. So it wasn't like they knew who's who real quick.
Got it.
I don't want to pump his head up too much because it's already too
Take
late
your
for
headphones
that.
off for a second.
Too late for that. But a lot of people, like Kelly Slater, used to be in HB all the time. Like he would stay in Huntington all summer. So I think he had a lot of influence in Jay's style.
Yeah, he'd come out every summer with his brothers.
And over the years, people would say, oh, that's Larson. He's the HB Slater. And
So we have a chocolate Aki and we have an HB Slater. Look at you guys.
so there's this
Wait, we'll have to come up with one.
Yeah.
there.
there's this movie that was Kelly's first big movie was
Black and white. Oh, best friggin' movie.
right? And it was funny because we had
I
Jay
made one.
Larson black and white,
Really?
Yeah.
and it was fucking impressive.
We put an edit together. I was in high school, it was like my high school years, or it was a couple of years.
I
But
wish we could find out where that fucking video is
it was
because
that good?
it's that good.
Got it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh shit, like
Okay, so let's stop here. What was the connection? You guys, where's the crossover start with you guys?
so at Huntington Surf and Sport,
Yep.
Okay, let's before we get to that.
Yeah.
Huntington Surf and Sport.
Yep.
It starts there. When did you guys start working there? Was that first job for you guys?
No.
No. Okay.
I'll
I'll get back to all this, but
I tried my best in going to college and didn't really. And I worked at ZJ Boarding House living in Huntington and working for Earthpack. Well, back then it was called Leisure Time, Dave Bach. I had those 2 jobs during the week. I worked for Dave Bach during the week, and on the weekends I would drive to Santa Monica to work at ZJ Boarding House.
Crazy.
And my friend Yogi Ibarra worked at HSS at Huntington Surf and Sport, and one day he goes, dude, why are you driving the fucking ZJ Boarding House? You live in Huntington.
what was ZJ Boarding House? Is that like the Zephyr Zone or anything like that? Or I don't
ZJ is Zuma J.
Oh, Zuma J. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and that was in Santa
So-
Monica, Malibu.
Okay, so after high school, you go to college. You
I try.
try a
Yeah.
little bit, and you did. Keone Watson calls it the North Shore University. You did like the pro surf university. Is
Yeah,
that right?
for sure.
And then at some point, you guys end
Well,
up.
we met at HSS tagging product at the general manager back then's garage in Huntington.
Yeah. So that was
How old?
I did paper route, and then I got sponsored by Surf and Sport 14, 15 ish. And I was just hanging at the shop so much. And they're like, dude, we need to get you to do something. So I'd tag the product, the boxes, and I'd ring it in and stuff at Chris Sines is the manager's garage, which
Back
was
then we
2
didn't
blocks
have-
away from my house.
We didn't have computers or a warehouse really. It was like in the garage with the plastic like hook and, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I remember it well. I mean, I think I told you guys when you guys interviewed me on your podcast, Late Night with Choccy, my first job was Surfside when it was down on 23rd Street when I was 13. I was the boogie board rental kid. We sat out in the parking lot. And told people where the bridge to Catalina Island was because he would always ask and crazy shit. But I worked there for a few years. This was before Duke bought it and moved up here. It was Kathy was the owner, but we had like Vince and a lot of the guys that have gone on in the industry. But I worked there for a few years and then went on and worked at the Balboa Beach Company with Jeff Roberts for a bunch of years. So I was the same thing we talked about. Like we all started early. And we were always hanging out at Surfside because growing up in Newport, riding our bikes all the way down the peninsula in the dark. Surf all day, hang out there, eat pizza, and I was like, I'm here every day. I should get a job.
The surf shop hangout was a real thing.
Because we would watch the surf videos because they had them all. We couldn't afford them. We didn't have them all. And we'd just hang out there all day. And they would go like, little kids, get out of here or do something. Right?
Yeah, they would buy me lunch just to organize the sticker like counter.
So great.
Like, hey, organize that or go clean the like used boards and then we'll buy you lunch. And I'd be like, that's enough for me.
So over the years, he rode for Surf and Sport. I worked there.
And then I started working there in high school.
And we had the same interests, ping pong and the Lakers
And
surfing.
Right?
So
hey, did I tell you guys where my oldest son just started working?
Where?
Lakers.
No way.
Yeah, I'll fill in.
Congrats.
Yeah, big deal.
Nice.
His dream job too.
Huge.
Yeah, big deal.
So
I digress.
All those things kind of made our friendship.
So how old were you when you guys met there initially?
I was probably 15.
So fun.
Yeah. So I was up there.
You guys are like more married than you are to your wives.
Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. That's so
we've
fun.
known each other longer than our
But
wives.
it was, I would surf. There was at least 2 or 3 Laker games a week, and we play ping pong every day.
So great.
Remember how gnarly the boxing, Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield.
Oh, the Tyson days when we used to watch Tyson? Yeah.
And you'd have a party.
Yep.
The parties would be at my house, in my apartment. And everybody would come to my house and we'd rage. But yeah, that's how we.
Late night started then.
God, Late Night started. And I think it probably started before then. So, Jay, let's go back to you in the surf. So, this whole time, as you're going out on the surf world post high school, you're working at
HSS.
Okay. And that went on for a long time.
I worked there for 12 years.
Okay, we'll get back to that. And so let's talk about your surf path and where you went with it.
So, I was competing. I did a bunch of the Pro-Ams in America. Was the Bud Tour, then it changed to like the Clarion Tour, Panasonic, whatever it was. But I started competing. I think I did a couple events my junior year. And then my senior year, I did all not all, but most of them. And, Huntington High School has a surf team. I was kind of like already making money. I was like, I just want to go travel and bail. But my parents and the coach and everybody kept me grounded, just finished high school, which I'm glad I did, because just the friendships. And it really wouldn't have changed anything anyways, as far as, the
trajectory.
Where you are today.
Yeah, for sure. And it was fun, and then I was still working at Huntington Surf Sport, 2 or 3 nights a week, and just because I wanted to hang out with my bros and make some extra money.
So when you were in town, not competing, you'd be here, working, but always trying to scrape together, like
for sure,
trying to get on a movie thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was a hustler. I worked at McDonald's when I turned 16 too, and I was juggling surfing sport. I was like free food, some paycheck, like whatever. But it was like after high school was okay. Now it's time to.
Well, you were starting to blow up.
Yeah,
you were starting to get notoriety. And
what did it look like to you and the friends of Jay when he was starting to blow up?
It was cool and awesome because we, his best friends are like fucking psyched for him, right? Start seeing him in videos and start seeing him in magazines, and we're like, oh shit, he's doing stuff. And one thing, he's smart and a hard worker, and he knows how to network, right? And early days of videos with Taylor Steele and Jason Kenworthy and Dival. Like there's different camps of movie makers, right? Taylor Steele and then Snapping Turtle. Poor Specimen and Snapping Turtle were the two video production guys. And you were
One camp
most
or the
people
other?
were one camp or the other, but Lar blurred the lines, and he was
Figured
able
that
to
out.
he was able to get parts in each one. And I'd like to say I had a hand in that, like telling him, "Hey, dude, you got to fucking work with these guys." You remember that?
Say
All
yes.
you, Lyndon.
But I was never his coach, and it's so funny because he'll I think he'll back me up on this, but
For sure.
ping pong was our fucking game. Like we would
Head game.
have the gnarliest games where he would win 60% of the time. But the battles were so gnarly. We would be fucking sweating.
Who would be the first one to throw a paddle at the other
Right
one? You're the snapper?
Yeah. So these games were intense. We were both really good. Like it was fun.
Really on the table.
Really good sparring partner.
But that was like the thing that I would mess with his head. Like, dude, you got to have Eye of the Tiger.
So you were using your competitive ping pong games to
give him advice.
to give him a heads up on his competitive. Because
Yeah.
kids today all have coaches. You didn't have coaches
No.
back then, right? So you were his bro coach.
I was his
through ping pong.
Yeah. And
for
he
sure.
would, he'd go to like on the road, different countries, and every once in a while he'll check in, like call me from somewhere.
I call like with a card number
Yeah, right.
because there was
Collect? Is that what it was?
not collect, but charge my home line or whatever it was.
Charge Choccy's
Yeah.
home line.
But he called me when he won from Japan.
What'd you
Yeah.
win?
Like a contest, yeah, like
In
A
Japan.
big one,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
With big prize money, fucking insane trophy. But he goes, dude, I won. I the fucking tiger. And we just started laughing, because it was a funny way to
I knew he would be super stoked. He would be the most stoked. Of course, my family would be, and sponsors, whatever. But I'm like, Lyndon's gonna lose it.
How cool to have a
Yeah.
friend that you know is going to be your biggest fan,
Yeah.
and then you guys are still best friends 30 years later.
Well, I did it.
it's
I had a
kind
tiger.
of funny, yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
It's
I
really
remember
like
the call.
I wouldn't
remember.
say it with you guys usually, but it's pretty special. Like that's really cool. Okay, I'll strike that from our language today.
That's special.
I did it, Lyndon. I
should've
finally
known
did it. No,
Yeah,
but
because
Wow.
I was all of our friends were big fans
and supporters,
and supporters
for sure.
Like
You're-
to start seeing him in like
The movie parts.
the movies.
The movies.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you start with one little wave, maybe you get two waves, and then all of a sudden you have a fucking part. You're like, oh shit! And he's got a skit in a Taylor Steele movie.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you're on, and you never really had a manager, right?
No,
But we would help.
yeah,
Yeah, it
you
sounds
know,
like. Yeah,
guide 'em and all
advice
that.
and
yeah.
push and everything.
But I have my boys I grew up with, camp, all good surfers and stuff, and then I had the pro surfer group of friends.
Who were you traveling
And,
with? Like, who was that group?
It
Did it
kind of
vary?
varied, from like Chris Drummy to Ryan Simmons to Jeff Deffenbaugh to Benji to
So Huntington guys, Southern California guys.
Yeah, Benji to Rizal to June Joe to Saxon. It just depended on, who was going to what trip and where and what it was for, if it was a contest or video
Yeah.
part. You had these little different circle of friends.
And if you weren't a surfer in the 90s, early 2000s, some of those names wouldn't ring
Yeah.
a bell. But like for me, those were the guys. The
Yeah.
movies that we were like, again, there was no internet. So we were watching, we all had VHSs, and when they'd come out, we'd go get them or we'd go to the surf
Yeah.
shop to watch them.
Yeah.
And Jay was
And
in
a
a lot of those.
A lot of the guys on, that ended up becoming pros in my age group was all the guys I competed with in the amateur ranks, like the best of the best. So, we kind of all graduated onto the, main stage, and then some were good at contests, some were good at video, and some just were
Yeah.
good at charging big weight. Whatever their niche was, you had all these little different circles of friends, and sometimes it was the sponsorship connections too. Like you knew them, but then you had the same sponsor, so that kind of threw in another dynamic of like circle of people you traveled with. But
How long did you do it for? The tour? Or touring, surfing on,
Yeah.
traveling the world, doing movie parts, whatever.
Lyndon will chime in for sure, but my amateur, I made a few national championships, never won. I always like finished third, fourth, fifth, whatever, I never won any nationals. And then I started doing the pro-ams of like the Bud Tour, Panasonic, whatever the tour was. And right out of the gates, I was consistently making like quarters, semis, made a few finals in the first couple of years of doing these. So way more successful than a lot of the up and coming guys in my group, or more consistent. So I had, I don't know, I just came out and was on fire. And then those were all domestic events. And then I'm like, I want to go surf this contest in Australia or Europe or Brazil or whatever.
But he became a free surfer.
And then those
videos and
and then those results,
editorial magazine shots.
Got it.
and that was the parallel like business plan is, contests are only as good as your last result and, your ranking, but, magazines and video were just as important, if not more at that time. So it's a balancing of the two.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And how far? I could ask you questions about this all day because it's so rad. And I was there as a voyeur. I was there watching it, living it, on the outside. How long did you do that before you pivoted?
I probably competed to make the championship tour about 5 years. 2 of the years was kind of like building a rank to have a good seed to go, not waste money going around the world because it's expensive. And then I tried 3 years, like getting after it. Like I'm going to do all the events anywhere I could afford to go to. And 2 years, I mean, pretty close. On the points, it's, one good result away from, making that like tail end of the cut, so it was frustrating.
High stress environment.
High stress. And, unfortunately the contests I did really well at, the points system, they were a lower point. And then the ones that you really had to perform, the higher point, events, I bombed out early.
Gotcha.
And it was less like, if I could reverse some of those results and some of the better ones, but it could have changed everything, but no regrets.
The QS back then was held in the shittiest
ways, for sure, in weird spots,
Yeah.
Florida, and whatever.
Yeah, so like
Brazil,
an
like
example of it went starred
Japan.
1 star to 5 star,
right.
And there's a lot more 1, 2, and 3 stars because the prize money wasn't as it's easier to put those events on versus the big ones, and the big ones would be in shitty spots.
Okay, so you're staying in touch during this. Again, I don't want to minimize it because again, from the outsider, you were up there with the momentum guys. You're competing around the world. We're watching video spots with the best of the best, and you were super. Like it was super cool. Like local guys crushing it. It was rad. But at some point, you pivoted, and I would say pivot because you came back and foreshadowing. You guys have both been in the industry ever since. Like you've been in it. Probably you never took a break from the time you started at the surf shops. You've been in it in some way, shape, or form, and you've been for decades as well. So when did you? Whether it's make the minds the change or what happened to go from surf to
pro
industry?
surfing to industry. I was married. I had a daughter on the way, or just had a daughter. Still doing the pro surf route, and I was just like I can't travel 8 months or whatever, and I don't. It's kind of pointless to just try to string it along if you're not 100% in, because you have to invest a lot. You have to put a lot of time, money, effort to really stay at that like high level. And I was kind of like, I just don't think I have the energy, the time, and I'd rather, kind of move on. So in my eyes, I kind of prematurely pulled the plug, where I could have easily stretched it out.
You should have done it earlier, bro.
But you had but it was a decision you had to make.
Yeah, it wasn't a money issue. I had, had some reserves, already had a house. My wife was working. I just was in a good spot to kind of be like, okay, I could afford to change it up.
Yeah. And those days, that was the path, right? If you were a ripping surfer, pro surfer, the expectation was you were going to end up in the industry as a rep, as some role. It was very, very common path because the industry was booming at that time. And so let's bring you back, Lyndon. So you're at the shop. Like, tell us your path from working at HSS when you're young to, like, how did it start to evolve?
It's crazy because I really didn't know what I was going to do for a career, right? Like, I did a bunch of different things, but working at HSS 1 day a week turned into the full-time job, and I grew in responsibility and then, management, and then like learned everything about the business. And I was really good at certain things, right? And the Aaron Pye had given, there's there's two other guys ahead of me that were there for a long time, and everyone had a role. Like Darren Bradley ran production and private label. Chris Sines was a GM of all operations, and I was kind of like the front man and like customer service / gray marketing guy. And we all had ownership at HSS at one point in time. So I thought I was going to be there forever, right? Like,
when you say ownership, you didn't have equity. You
we
just
had
had
equity.
You did have equity.
He gave us
I didn't know
ownership.
They did that. Oh wow,
Yeah.
good for them.
He only we had to sell them all back, but I think it's all in the family now. No one there has equity anymore. But at that time, I mean,
Wow.
Chris Sines was there for like 30 something years, and Darren was there for like 25. I was there for 12, but at one point in time, it was a really fucking insane fun job, and it didn't feel like a job. We worked our asses off, and but anyways,
for anybody's sake, Huntington Surf and Sport is at the base of the Huntington Pier on Main Street and Pacific Coast Highway, and it's an iconic. I don't know how long it's been there. It's been there a very, very long time. But as from a surf shop perspective, it's about as good as they come. You've got Jack's directly across the street,
Yeah.
totally kind of a different model to some degree, but like iconic surf shop.
I mean, that's the
worldwide.
mecca of the surf industry, is that corner. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
says.
Well said,
It's
yeah.
Surf City.
Yeah.
But worked there for 12 years, and retail, as you know, is a fucking grind. And I just kind of got burnt out, and then decided to go the other side, and then we started working for at the time it's called Podium, and it was DVS Madison Lakai, and I did international business because I had experience in international business, and then quickly became the national sales manager, and then from there worked for a bunch of different brands as a sales manager, working in-house. And then I got tired of being in-house, and then I became a sales rep. And then from there, I worked for a bunch of really good brands since then.
How many brands would you guess you've worked for during that time?
Since now to today?
Till today.
I would say at least 20.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I find it really interesting. Okay, so I'm going to take it over to Jay. Jay, you're working at HSS, pro, you're married, got a daughter,
Yeah.
your first kid on the way.
Yeah.
And when you made that decision to come back to the industry, whatever that was, what did you do?
So I had a good mentor, peer, great dude, Jeff Freud, who had a mortgage and loan and real estate business on Main Street. And he kind of took me, Jeff Deffenbaugh, Micah Byrne, a bunch of like us surfers that, were making money. And he kept pressing us like, you got to buy something, like let's get you into a condo, let's get you in the house, So, I wish I would have, in hindsight, pulled the trigger, a couple years earlier. But I was
Me too, bro.
Everybody
yeah, right.
says the same thing.
But he was just like, hey, come in, you can work for me, get your license.
Why didn't you guys tell me to do this?
And and anyway, so that I was kind of like, maybe that was a route. So in like 2002, I got my real estate license, and I was kind of working for Jeff, and then I was like,
His first house, I lived with him.
yeah,
Really?
Yeah. And then he got married, and then he kicked me out. And then
Yes.
my first condo, D-Baw actually set it up.
Oh, is that right?
And got me my
Jeff
first
Deffenbaugh.
condo. So
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, it's funny. I think, especially if we're trying to live at the coast in Orange County as our first place, like
Yeah.
the first place I got in Newport, my roommates were guys like Todd Bousman, Dave Rose, Dave Pena, like all my
Loaded
surf
up.
buddies,
Yeah.
all like, that's how you afforded it, right?
Yeah.
And so I always talk to my kids like, oh, I want to live by myself. I was like, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially
right?
now. Back then,
Oh.
we
We got
pulled it
very
off.
lucky. Yeah.
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 Brad Doherty,
Yeah,
we
sure.
had him on the show a
He did
couple
the
weeks
same
back,
thing.
and he did the same thing,
Yeah.
We do whatever it takes, right? So, okay, so you
That was kind of one route,
so you get your real estate license.
Another route was, my dad was like a finished woodworker, owned his own business, worked his own hours. He was a craftsman, and I that was another job, just being in that environment, learning how to do a bunch of that. And I'm like, I always thought that was cool. I'm like, I want to do what my dad does and build shit. And then I was like, oh, and then surfing, being in, having a name, like Lyndon said, I did a good job of networking, and, everybody is like, oh, go be a sub rep for, which we had a bunch of friends in the industry, like come work for me and you could work under me. And all, had some conversations and opportunities. And then 2 of my friends were starting RUCA, and they're like, come work for us. So I was like, okay, maybe I could do the real estate thing. My wife's working, maybe we could juggle it. I'll go work for RUCA, which at first was just going to be kind of like marketing. I'll be in like the surf.
You were writing for him.
So that was a kind of, there was a transition where I was still getting paid from a bunch of sponsors, working, still kind of doing a nice, smooth of a transition I could. RUCA's like, we have no money, we're just starting off. So marketing, warehouse, errand boy, pack and box, whatever it was is kind of the job title we all did. And we were growing so much. That was the position I was kind of like, well, I want to be in marketing. And then, the company was growing. We didn't really have a bunch of reps. And all my friends are like, dude, you don't want to do marketing. Yeah, it sounds cool. It's got a good name. You get to travel, but like get into sales. That will take you everywhere. So, I had some good people in my ear, and they were just like, hey, get in the sales side. So I jumped in from marketing to a sales rep position.
With RUCA?
Yeah.
Who are you repping for now?
RUCA.
Exactly. So that was, hold on. But that was my question, because I know that Lyndon, you're constantly pivoting and trying new brands, and you brought me a couple today, but Jay, I'm like, I think you've been there the whole time.
Whole time.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
You guys are going, but like different ways.
Yeah.
You've been a straight line, and Lyndon's been this
But I've
way.
done a bunch of other brands aside, but that's been the main, vein for, money.
Which is
and
crazy and commendable.
yeah.
Well, Pat Tenor, RUCA, what's interesting, you live in Surf City and you worked at HSS, which is the mecca of it. But like the surf industry in America is within 2 miles of where we're sitting right now. And Pat Tenori, who started RUCA, went to my high school. Richard Woolcott started Vulcan, went to my high school.
Yeah.
Like
it's crazy.
It was
This is
all
Velcro
right here.
Valley, right?
Velcro Valley, exactly right. Echo Beach and the whole bit.
Yeah.
So it's really neat that you've been able to stay, even with all the evolution. We'll get to surf industry. Well, why don't we go there now?
Yeah.
Can I tell you one
Yeah, tell
funny
it.
story?
Yeah.
So I'm living with this guy, right? And I'm at the fork of the road for my career, right? And I was working at HSS, and I just interviewed at Podium, and I got an offer letter for half the money I was making at HSS. Half. A little over half. But RUCA called me and said they want me to be the sales rep for RUCA. And I'm living with him.
Yeah.
And he's the RUCA team manager.
I'm already there, and I'm like, dude,
You can't do
you can't
this.
afford this.
You got to pay me rent.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to make money. And I like it.
I'm not making any money. You're not going to make any money.
At the time, there was no way I could survive. I would have to work other
8
jobs.
jobs.
Yeah. 8 jobsman.
But that's a funny tidbit,
Yeah, what are the odds
right?
of that, right?
Yeah. But I took a chance of leaving my
Cush job.
not cush, it
But-
was hard work. But
12 years in, you're established.
yeah, I was part
And you had
owner.
equity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was part owner of
Yeah.
everything. So, but I was just over it, and I left. But within a year, I made the best decision of my life.
Which was?
Moving,
Oh,
like
it was.
leaving,
Okay.
Yeah.
and going.
So
work
it all
for
started to
Podium.
click once you
Yeah.
went into sales, outside sales.
Yeah, and I mean, sales isn't rocket science, but if you're not a hustler and if you don't have good work ethic and follow through, you're not going to make it.
Well, I say this all the time on here, so anybody would hear me, I apologize. But going back to what we talked about, like with your work ethic and you being a Cub Scout and being able to do anything, you're always responsible, and you're, this, whether it's the family or the Filipino nature of being a super hard worker. I always say, like, how you do one thing, it's how you do everything.
Right.
Like if you're a fuck off, you're going to kind of be a fuck off at work too. Like if you're a grinder, you're going to grind whatever you do, like whether it's family or sports
100%.
or job. So it sounds like both being grinders and kind of having good friends in your ears and being in a pretty cool space, being in the surf world. And it's interesting. So today, it's funny when you guys interviewed me, I said something and it stuck with me because I was like, I think I sounded like an asshole. But you guys, like I said something about how the surf industry is kind of dying.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I've had people tell me so many times, retail's dying. Amazon's going to eat everything. Your stores are blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so I had said the same thing. The surf industry, I don't know, this is 3 years ago, whatever. It has been going through a big evolution,
For sure.
right? Not always pretty, definitely divergent from where it's been, but there's all kinds of interesting things coming out of it. There's good brands coming out.
Yeah.
Like, Lyndon, you've got all kinds of things. You've got a shirt on with one that's coming out, one of the smallest little places on the planet.
You see it?
Kauai, Black Bear.
Black Bear.
And you had the guy on your pod. I'm trying to blank on his
Teva
name.
Dexter is
Teva,
his
right.
name, yeah.
From a little corner of the North Shore of Kauai, and it's now showing up everywhere, and you're repping them.
Yeah.
It's been, so I would say even in my world, retail has definitely changed a lot, and you have to be able to pivot and navigate it, but it's not dead. But I remember saying something, I don't even remember exactly what I said, but on your podcast, I said something that afterward I was like, oh, I didn't like the way I said that. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, but it's no secret.
We'll have to relaunch that to figure
Please
that one
don't.
out.
No, it's all good.
Any industry, contracts and expands and goes through the, ebb and flows of, demand and saturation and economy, and everything's cyclical and everything.
Yeah, especially in this roll-up
changes.
economy where all these, like Ruka's been
Yeah.
sold 3 times now, and like there's been a lot of, but I'm still wearing it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's so it's interesting more than maybe anything else. So today, you guys are still in it.
Yep.
It's different, but you're
Can't get rid of
navigating
me,
it.
bro.
You can't get rid of you. But again, you showed up today with a couple of stuff that's totally ancillary to surf. And what I have this conversation all the time because I have hardware stores, but we're a community store, and I can sell lots of different stuff because I have a lot of foot traffic and we're in cool towns. I've got a lot of people from your space that are now selling into my space.
Yeah.
I've got people, and growing up, I didn't think surf, I thought surf was my future. And I didn't think hardware was very sexy. And for a long time, I kind of struggled with it. And I'm like, shit, now everybody from surf is trying to sell stuff into my stores.
That's how
all
you
the
know
time.
it's hurting.
I know. Well, right.
No, I don't
but,
think
or that it's
that.
evolving, right?
Yeah,
I-
evolving.
Not to brown nose you or Ace Hardware, but Ace is the place.
Yeah.
I mean, every chance I get of like something I need to buy that you would carry, I have to go to your store, right?
Well, we appreciate that.
And the mix that you've brought in is so cool that I honestly will walk around to almost all the aisles just to see what is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you. Well, you guys know retail. You guys grew up in
Yeah.
it. You have to stay cool and change it. And just like the surf industry, retail, I've got every competitor in the world. I mean, Amazon and everybody is selling stuff that I sell. So I have to provide, retail has to provide an experience.
Yeah.
And for us, it's customer service, it's really cool stuff, and it's a great environment.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what HSS does. That's what the best retailers do.
Customer service and selection is what makes retail special, right? And that's what was successful for those stores forever. And honestly, your store, you walk in, somebody rushes up and says hello to you, right? And that's like, can I help you? Let me know if you need something or whatever it is.
Well, I appreciate you guys also live about a mile from the store, so I appreciate that.
Well, that's what you mentioned, your corner, your corner store. But, you got to have the nuts and bolts, your commodity items, which people go through and ruin, but you got to do a good job of having, like you said, the kind of on trend, whether it's Traeger and all the like barbecue fat, or, maybe it's, you guys change seasonally, with what products you need at the front.
Yeah.
I'm going to put
It's
you on the
good.
spot, though.
Uh-oh, here we go.
You gave us some goodie bags,
Ooh.
but where's the fucking pies that you speak of?
They are in a cooler.
Thursdays, what time?
It's amazing how many pies we sell in a hardware store. You would not believe how many pies we sell. And again, it's
when
just
you
one of
brought
those
that
things.
up, I had no idea.
We sell so many pies, you guys. It's in all of our stores in
epic.
And
California.
who makes it?
It's a Northern California firm. It's a family. They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
A small operation.
It's gotten bigger because we asked them to expand to Southern California because we sell so many in Northern California. People trip out on how good those are. It's why I always say, listen, we pay a lot of rent in a store like we have a store right here. Like the amount of rent we pay is unbelievable. So I say if somebody comes in and they need a plunger and they only buy a plunger, I am out of business.
Yeah.
Like I need to sell you
Add
other
on.
stuff. So we make it again. If we make it cool and you want to meander around and find what you need and also find a bunch of other stuff, that's how we win.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
And so experiential retail. But also like that store by you, I have a Home Depot 30 seconds away. So you guys make a choice. You go to me or to Depot. So I got to make you want to come to us. So pies help. Yeti and pies and everything else.
Yeah.
Listen, so I'm guessing that all of this time in the surf industry with your surf background and with your industry background and all the connections led you to this thing called Late Night with Choccy. Where did the idea for a podcast come from?
This guy right here.
The brains and the brawn.
This
Brains
guy.
and the looks. Is that the way this works?
This guy.
Yeah, because we're both sales reps, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
We drive because you're driving a lot.
We're
Driving a lot.
So we're always like, hey, did you listen to this? Or hey, did you listen to that? Whether it's sports, comedy, you know, you can only listen to so much music. So podcasts kind of came on the scene, and we would.
And you guys were early adopters because if you were listening to them, you've had a podcast for 9 years now. Is that right? 8 years?
6.
Oh, 6?
Yeah.
A little over 6
Okay,
years.
but
2019.
6, 7 years ago, that was the very beginning of
It was the
podcasts.
very- yeah.
So you guys had this thought early on.
Yeah. Before the explosion, right? Of
Because
everyone.
now anybody can have a podcast.
But so yeah, there's a couple out there: Surf Splendor, Beach Grit, and that was kind of the only ones
At the time?
At the
That
time,
was like David Scales.
yeah,
and those
David
guys.
Scales and Chaz Smith,
Yep.
and I'm like, those guys have their take, but between Jay and I, he's funny, I'm funny.
Whoa.
You guys
We-
are so funny.
We know everybody. Like, let's start our own. And when I called him, I'm like, hey man, I go, I think we need to start a podcast. I got the perfect name for it, Late Night with Choccy. He's like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, dude, we're going to talk about surfing. I go, we're both sales reps. We can interview surf shops and our friends and, you know, help promote our culture and industry. And from there, the first one was with our alma mater, Huntington Surf and Sport, and it just kept going from there. And, you know, it became like, it's kind of cool because the people that have gone on the show tell us how stoked they are. And then there's guys that know the guests that tell us, dude, I've known that guy for fucking 15 years and I never
didn't
knew
know that. That's so that is my favorite part of this experience is finding out stuff. I always say if a viewer that knows the guest really well learns something,
Yeah.
they go, I didn't know that about
Yeah.
Lyndon and Jay. Like that is the goal. Like,
Yeah.
I love that you just said that because I didn't know that going in, right?
Yeah.
You don't know when you start these things, like what's the magic, but that is magic. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we kind of evolved. Like we kind of just went in green, not really having a serious game plan. We're just like, let's just talk to, you know, promote surf shops, promote retail, because that's our livelihood, and it's brick and mortar is super important. You know, like it was just, we need to support the industry.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, and we know everybody. So whether it's a pro surfer or a retailer or some entrepreneur or somebody in marketing or a shaper, we don't care. Like we want to talk to everybody as long as they surf.
It's been crazy because, you know, Joe Rogan is pretty much the
guy.
epitome of this,
Yep.
right? And the roster on his, you know, the guests is so diverse, right? And ours is diverse, but it's all organic.
Within a framework.
And
right?
it's, I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
surfing is the thread that stitches everybody in, you know, with. Like, that's why we do this, because of surfing, right? And it's cool because, you know, we've had you on, you know, an entrepreneur. We've had
Kelly Slater.
Kelly Slater. We've had Bob McKnight. We had
Founder of Quicksilver. And
Jared Watson, who's the singer of Dirty Heads. You know, we've had all these gnarly people that you've heard of, and then Jason Schneidman, who's, you've never heard of him, but he's got one of the most interesting stories because he's the hairstylist to the stars, you know, and it's like, whoa, like that's kind of cool. And it's crazy. I had one guy, a friend of mine, when we interviewed Bob McKnight, he hit me up. He goes, dude, you guys, every business major should listen to your podcast. Because he came from, he went to USC and he interned, he graduated from USC. He's a wealth management guy, surfer.
He worked at Quicksilver.
He interned at Quicksilver for a couple of years. He goes, dude, McKnight and all these other entrepreneurs talk about shit that every business major should listen to. And you're just like, what? Like,
Yeah.
we're just fucking surfers.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we keep saying. We're just fucking surfers. But it's cool because they share this knowledge and experience, and you're just like, and for us, they're like, we're not like trying, it's just happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's cool because everyone tells us, oh, dude, that was insane. Like, one of our best friends, Bobby Lockhart, right? We've known him for fucking ever. And when somebody like him tells you that they were stoked on that episode,
Yeah.
it's so rewarding, you know? You're like, oh, dude, thank you. Like, that makes me happy.
That's why we do this.
Yeah.
Not because we got 1 million followers. We wish, that'd be awesome. But we know we got a little niche, podcast in a, what we say a small industry compared to the world. But the people we connect with, and it's real authentic. And the people that we're interviewing, well-known or unknown, have what we call the spider
Yeah.
web
The
of
ripple
life,
effect.
the ripple effect. And there's people that we get brought up numerous times in conversations, and then there's conversations from one, podcast, and we get the other side from somebody else down the line.
Yeah.
And it might not be for another year, but everything is, kind of organic, and it's just us we both like to talk, and we
Yeah.
both like to genuinely listen to people's, journey, and it's inspiring for the most part. And that's what I hope people get out of the podcast is they learn something, it's fun. It's something they might have not known, or maybe it's somebody or a profession that they had no idea was about. Because, dude, we have people in marketing, we have people that do design, we have people that built brands, like Scott Vanderripe, another good friend. He started 3 brands, sold 3 brands. He's a freaking
Serial entrepreneur.
Jeff Kelly started Sanook, who was at Track Top, and he came out with a grass slipper, sandal, like the craziest ideas. And you hear their story, and you're just like,
And he helped execute St. Archer.
yeah,
right.
So it's just
Crazy.
inspiring to hear and hopefully give people hope that they don't have to be in this monotonous just grind 9 to 5. Like, there's other opportunities out there, and just be
Dude,
cool. Be cool to people.
We had fucking Turtle on the podcast.
Yeah,
dude.
Is that John Philbin?
Yes.
yeah.
From North Shore.
From North Shore.
Yeah, what a legend.
And
right?
Brian Von Holt.
Brian Van Holt. But it's just so crazy. That guy.
I used to party with him when I was a grown.
He is a surf icon because of this fucking movie, right? And it was really cool because when we interviewed him at his little studio loft in Topanga Canyon, and I don't know how we got in touch with him. I got in touch with him somehow.
Yeah.
And he, we went to his place, we interviewed him, and it was so rad to find out that he's a core fucking surfer. More core than us. He goes to G-Land. He tries to go to G-Land at least once a year, right? So he charges. And what he wanted to make sure is that we knew that he was an actor, a thespian, not like an actor.
He's like a professional, legitimate actor, not just a North
the
Shore
word-
surfer hack.
He's like
actor.
He's like, dude, I am into my craft. He's like, I went to school for it. I trained myself. And I'm just like, what?
Because you can get pigeonholed in a...
And
He was,
he was
in my
pigeonholed.
mind, he's pigeonholed, right?
Yeah.
But then you look at his body of work, you're like, whoa, that fucking guy did way more than just North Shore,
But he's known as Turtle forever. Forever. Just like Rick Kane is known forever and ever and ever.
That's so good.
That's so neat. Well, listen, I mean, one of the things that I've learned now in this year, because when I sat with you guys, I hadn't yet started this. I had been thinking about it, and maybe that was part of the catalyst, but I knew I wanted to do it. I just didn't know how or what that would look like. But some of the stuff I've learned, it's really, really neat. And I would have to imagine your access to people. You had your core group, but as you said, the spider web, it gets wider and wider and wider. And to get feedback from some of these folks, it's got to feel really, really good. But I think part of why yours is such a good, because I'm a podcast nerd. That's how I found. That's why I did this. Same thing. I listen to them all the time. Usually I'm not driving as much, but long paddles, long rides, long runs. I'm just a podcast dork. And yours, what I have found through this, and I think it relates to yours, is when you're talking to people in your world where you know the sport or know the topic well, it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
You can flow. I've interviewed a couple people that are a little on the outskirts of my real knowledge base, and I have to do a lot more prep and a lot more work to be good at it. But I can talk surf or paddling or ocean stuff all day long.
Yeah.
because that's the world I live in, right? So I'm guessing by talking to these people, even if it's on the outside of it, it's still, everything is coming back to this place that you guys know so well that it's a very, not only is it authentic, but it probably makes it way easier, way more fun, because it's just, you're in your wheelhouse all the time, right?
When we first started it, we had a list of questions, right?
Yeah.
And very quickly, like, we didn't need it because we're sales reps.
Don't hold this against me.
No. I'm just saying, we used to have a list and ask specific questions, but because we're sales reps and we've got the gift of gab, we just fucking wing it, And it's funny, there's been guys that it's cool because they're psyched to get on the show. Like when we call them or when I get in touch with them, I'm like, hey, can you get on the podcast? Really? You want me to be on your show? And I'm just like, yeah, dude.
I totally get
what's his face?
Well, there's a lot of people that...
Gothard. Sorry.
John
Gothard. I called him and I said, dude, let's get you on the podcast. He goes, really? And he came and he brought this. He brought a fucking...
I've had a couple.
No, he sent it to us like days before.
Really?
Yeah, like an outline, a bullet point, like...
To make sure that he didn't forget anything, And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool, for somebody...
to take it that seriously.
To take it that seriously. And yeah, it's...
So let me ask you this, because this is right in there. So what makes a great guest? Or what makes a shitty guest? I mean...
I think, I don't know if we've had any shitty guests.
We've never had a shitty guest,
yeah.
Honestly.
I think the more engaging are the ones that are more talkative or have way more experience. Like if we were to interview a 20-year-old that really his experiences are quite short.
And it's not shitty. It's
limited.
It's limited.
They haven't accomplished as much, versus some of the older, guests that have, different chapters and done different things. So it's all relative,
But
there's no bad guess.
There's no bad guess. I think it's when people get comfortable, and I don't know how we make it comfortable. We either drink beers or fucking
a lot of beers or
shots
drinks
or whatever. But
sometimes.
What was I going to say?
I haven't heard any crack on this
I know.
one. We probably should.
Can you grab me one?
Of course.
But we've had a couple, like Lyndon said, we've reached out to a couple people, and they're like, dude, why would you interview me? I don't have anything to say.
I've had that as well.
I'm kind of boring or whatever. We've had what we would call surf celebrities or people of high profiles, which are, whether it's Bob McKnight, he speaks at USC as a business. He's ran huge companies. Then there's guys that have never been in the front, never been on the spotlight, have never they've never been asked. They're never going to tell their story. Like you could look up 1 million pages of Kelly Slater on the World Wide Web and know everything that he's done. But those that are interesting they're kind of I don't really know that person. I've never heard of that person. And then you hear their story and you're pretty like.
So when you're talking about that person, I think of Dwight Dunn. You know who Dwight Dunn is?
I don't.
Okay, not very many people did or do. He's an HB fucking legend. He's probably one of the first California pro surfers, right? He owned a store with Carl Hayward on Main Street, and he was Bob Hurley's, like one of Bob Hurley's right-hand men. Like
when Bob was just a shaper running his glass shop, Dwight ran his business for him. Like
Bob shaped me one of my very first custom boards when I was a kid.
Awesome.
Yeah, so fun.
So Dwight was the back guy for Bob.
Okay.
Double D is his nickname.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Nickname.
He when I hit him up, he goes, "Well, you don't want to hear my story. Who's gonna? It's gonna be boring." I go, "Bro," "You realize you were a pro surfer in the '70s. You got coverage in the magazines. You helped start 2 fucking insane brands, Billabong and Hurley. Like
what's not to talk about?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm like, you have a story." So we finally get him on, and it was really cool because
He was just inducted. Sorry to
The Hall of
interrupt,
Fame?
but the Hall of Fame, Huntington this
past
last
summer.
summer.
Wow, rad.
So he's a somebody
Yeah.
in our
Yeah.
industry.
I've had that too. So what's interesting is, again, I'm much newer to this than you guys, but I've found that sometimes some people, I've had guests where I thought that they were just going to flow and I had to like pull it out of them, right?
Yeah.
I've had people that were way more nervous than I expected, even though in their normal life they're hysterical and cool.